To all those above me that watch over me, to all of you, my fave parapeeps on this side of the veil, welcome. This is Reverend Sean Whittington's Paranormal Ministry. I'm your host, Reverend Sean, the Rev. Welcome to my haunted house, my very haunted house. And it's been a little active this morning, so maybe we'll see something funky in the next hour. We are on our way to the most haunted land down under today. Many of you already know that. Known to us in the biz as Hauntstralia. And you're going to love my guest. And we're going to get to him as soon as I can. A couple of quick things here real quick I want to take care of. Let me see who is in the prayer urn today. Okay. Andrew P. Andrew, I am so glad that I pulled your name. This was meant to be. Brothers and sisters, Andrew is a very nice gentleman. I haven't heard from him in about a month, and I just recently heard from him just a few days ago. Without airing too much of his dirty laundry, I will let you know that Andrew is a wonderful young man, no fault of his own, raised in a household with not much of a religious belief system in place, and that's okay. So why he has been targeted by what I'm just going to go ahead and call some malevolent entities, we're not sure, but he was living a pretty miserable life there for a while. And so finally, this is what I asked him, if he believed in Jesus. He said he does believe in Jesus. He was on the fence whether Jesus was the Son of God or the living God, our Lord and Savior. And what makes Andrew so special is that even though he was not raised with any particular religious belief system in place, sometimes when you reach rock bottom, when you're targeted and you're being attacked on a spiritual level by we all know what they are. It can make a person run the other way. But if you are absolutely 100% ready for the help, which he was, and ready to give Jesus a try, that makes all the difference in the world. So I said, listen, what could it hurt if you openly accept Jesus as your Lord and Savior into your life? Do some simple things. I told him to find a really good non-denominational Christian church that does baptisms in his area, to go get baptized, full submersion in the holy waters, which he did. I said, make sure that church also does confession, service with communion, and not just Catholic churches do that. You can find some non-denominational and some Christian churches that will do that. He did, so he did go to confession. He got baptized. He attended Mass, received communion. I gave him some, he knows how to bless and cleanse his home. He did that. Gave him some prayers to say every night before he goes to bed, some prayers to say every morning before he wakes up, or when he wakes up. And I hadn't heard from him in about a month. And a few days ago, I heard from him, and he wanted me to know that it's pretty miraculous what has happened to him. It's like the clouds that followed him everywhere above him opened up, and a ray of sunlight came through, and it hit him. It follows him everywhere. He really feels as though the Holy Spirit has entered his life. His life is miraculously turned around for the better. Things couldn't be better for him. So he asked if there, in addition to the prayers that I told him about, if there was a special prayer that he could just have for himself to say to Jesus, that could just be between me and him and the Lord. So I did find a good one for him. So I'm going to say that for you today. And I'm also going to light a candle for you. You didn't ask for one, Andrew, but I'm going to light one for you. So let me find this prayer. This is it. This is the prayer. If you guys want to add some love and light some good vibe to this prayer, or if you want to receive some good vibe, some love and light from this prayer, while I pray it, all you have to do is reach forward, touch your computer screen, close your eyes and bow your head, and you will be all set. So here we go. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Give me, O Lord, my God, a steadfast heart, which no unworthy thought can drag downwards, an unconquered heart, which no tribulation can wear out, an upright heart, which no unworthy purpose may tempt aside. Bestow upon me also, O Lord my God, understanding to know thee, diligence to seek thee, wisdom to find thee, and faithfulness that I may finally embrace thee. Amen. Andrew, I am going to fold this up because I printed it out just for you. I'll mail it to you, buddy. You should get it in a couple of days. But I am so glad, so happy for you that things have turned around. God bless you, and God bless all of you out there that helped me with that prayer. Okay, what else do I want to say? If there's anything you guys want to know about me and my wife and our ministry work, go to our website, www.ghost-b-gone.biz. When you go there, remember, my wife and I don't charge for our ministry work, helping people with their paranormal issues. So I know times are tough, but if you notice the donate button and you're able to do so, click on it and send us in a small donation. I promise you it'll be appreciated from the bottom of our hearts, and we will put it to good use, I assure you. In addition to being an ordained exorcist, I'm also a certified spiritual advisor, intuitive coach. If you're having issues of a spiritual nature, not necessarily attached to the paranormal, you can make an appointment to speak with me about those issues there at the website. Don't leave the website without navigating back over to the page called the WSE course/book. On that page, you'll find the ghost store. And in the ghost store, you'll find cool things to buy, like this awesome throwback ghostbegone.biz coffee cup. I just got a new shipment in of the Put On Your Armor t-shirts. Probably can't get a really good look at it. I'm really happy the way that t-shirt came out. I designed that shirt for the spiritual warrior. So if you feel that that's you, go to the website, get a good look at that shirt. It's a beautiful shirt, and pick up one. That's the Put On the Armor ghostbegone.biz shirt. But you'll also find, and I also got another shipment of these, so this week I can physically show you this. You'll run into my new haunted autobiography, God, Ghosts, and the Paranormal Ministry. And I quote, the scariest book I ever published. That was Annette Munich, owner of Stellium Books, my publisher. But please don't let that scare you off of purchasing a copy. Part of the proceeds of every sale of every copy of my book goes to support stjude.org and St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital in Nevada, and that's a beautiful thing. And I recently added a new thing. I have been in the animal care industry most of my adult life, so this was a no-brainer. I added the ASPCA. So now you get to help the animals too. You can get the book at Amazon. You can also get the book autographed if you buy it on the website, and that comes enclosed in a house blessing kit. And rumor has it some of the books that leave my home here autographed by me may be haunted themselves. So buyer beware. Scroll down a little bit further, you'll see the Worldwide Society of Exorcists, which I am a founding member. I offer a 12-week college-level online course, Introduction to Spiritual Warfare. And that also is the course for those of you out there that feel a calling to the deliverance ministry, and you want to have the knowledge to know how to circle the wagons, draw your line in the sand, make a stand, and put up a good fight against, God forbid, true evil if it ever comes calling. That's the course for you. All my students that graduate get a stunning diploma, certificate of completion, suited for framing, along with some other very special blessed items that you can only get from yours truly, the Rev. So you can sign up for the course there at the website. If you want more info, there is a Worldwide Society of Exorcists Facebook page. You can go there and read a little bit more about the course. Please keep all of my former, current, and future students in your prayers. God bless you all for that. Okay. What else do I want to tell you guys? I'm excited. I haven't talked to this guy. Well, we're Facebook friends. We message back and forth all the time, but I haven't sat down and had a good para chat with him like this in probably 2 or 3 years. So I'm really excited. You all know him. You all love him. Founder of LVPD, Latrobe Valley Paranormal Detectives, a para hunter, passionate para hunter from the land down under, the most haunted land down under. Brothers and sisters, please welcome to the show the one and only Mick Winn. Mick, do we have you today, brother?
You most certainly do. Thank you very much, brother. Thank you for that. Thank you for that most awesome intro. And yeah, it has been a long time.
It has been. And I have to tell people that since we sat down like this last and had a chat, you didn't have the beard. So I have to tell you, it looks awesome. I know it's wintertime there and it's cold, but it's your call. But if you can manage to keep it even when summer rolls back around, that's my advice. And I don't give that advice to many people. A lot of people can't grow a nice beard and look good in one. You've accomplished that. You're a very handsome man. So my recommendation would be to keep the beard, but totally up to you, brother. It's good to see you. I know that your land down under where you are has been the last year plus has been uh, hell with the pandemic and all that. How are you holding up? Your country holding up, and all of that good stuff.
Well, I'm holding up all right. My family's doing all right. Um, the country itself, well, oh, parts of the country aren't doing it. Are doing it quite tough at the moment, um, including my state, Victoria. New South Wales and Queensland aren't doing. Well, New South Wales are copying it really badly at the moment. Queensland is just starting to get better. South Australia is starting to get better. Western Australia is just about fine. Tasmania, well, they're offshore basically, so they're all right. They're good.
Wow.
But yeah, so but yeah, it has been. We're just coming out of a fifth lockdown at the moment. So, but yeah, last year was hell with the lockdowns. It made things really hard for a lot of people. There was even a study done in September last year in Victoria, which just to go to just to show the effects of COVID and mental health. 1 in 10 Victorians had actually thought of committing suicide. Now, that doesn't sound like much until you realise that's roughly about 500,000 people.
Yeah.
That's a lot of people to think about suicide because of being, kept on their own. I know a lot of single people that have been kept in their apartments, flats, houses, etc. That haven't been able to go out or not go out very far because there were distance limits due to lockdown. And I know a few of them were going pretty stir crazy. But hopefully by the end of this year, one would hope that this corona thing is going to be, well, maybe not kicked in the head, but at least we'll be able to start moving forward again because it's pretty much put everything, on hold for a lot of people and for a lot of paranormal teams and groups as well.
Yeah. Absolutely. As of midnight last night, we just had the one lockdown, which was however long that was. As of midnight last night, we went into mandatory mask mandate again, where all businesses, their employees must wear masks at all time indoors, and anybody that enters that business has to have a mask on. There's rumors that there's another lockdown coming. I think it's going to get real ugly if it comes to that, because I think people are just sick and tired of it. But I see both sides of the complaint. You've got the spread is back again. I like to believe that they're being honest. Who knows? But the numbers, the hospitals are stressed out again. I know some nurses who are thinking about leaving the field because they're just beat into the ground. But it's a scary, scary time right now. Is everybody in the family doing okay? Nobody in your family um, caught COVID, and everybody's still with us.
No, everyone's still with us. Thank goodness. No one's no one's gotten COVID or anything like that. Just that, yeah. There's been a couple of very virulent strains of just the plain flu that a few of us have gone through in my family, but we've come out the other side. But yeah, that's about it. Luckily, touch wood, it
Well,
stays that way.
God bless. God
God,
bless.
yeah,
I'll
it stays
continue to.
like that.
I know a lot of people, in addition to you, down there, friends that I've met over many, many years being in this field. I throw a lot of prayers your way. I'll continue to do so. Speaking of the paranormal there, um, you know, out here it was funny because they talked about essential business, essential workers, essential people. All
Yeah,
the businesses that weren't considered essential labeled that had to shut down. And I know a lot of paranormal conferences and paranormal conventions were canceled. A lot of paranormal trips overseas were canceled. But I still saw a fair amount of teams holding events, where they were um, having people come to allegedly haunted locations and giving tours and doing overnight lockdowns and stuff. Of course, the groups were smaller. Everybody had their mask on. They were social distancing, but they were still able to go on with the event and do the investigation and continue to do that thing we do that we're all so passionate about. So I always would get a kick out of that because I never once heard anybody, an official, anybody, in power, so to speak, claim ever say ghost hunters was non-essential. I don't know if anybody out there ever heard somebody in power mention that. I'd love to hear from you, but I never heard it. So I always got a kick out of it that I saw people still able to do that. How has that been for you and your team? Have you just pretty much, like I took the last year off? I still worked a ton of cases over the phone, trying to help people with their paranormal issues, their demonic issues. Um, but I physically have not been able to go out and see anybody because for my safety and for theirs. But I became a much better counselor, and and the main thing is everybody has the power to take care of these problems themselves. They just have to be taught and realize that they are the ones that truly have the power to do that. So I got better at opening people's eyes to their inner power and their inner strength. But I physically, it felt like I took the year off. How has that been for you and your team?
well, we haven't done any public investigations since um, the last one we did was in November of 2019. But it was kind of funny actually. The lead up to COVID, we had nothing for a few months, and then all of a sudden, in the 6 weeks prior to COVID, we had a job every week. Bang, 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 and even the first week of COVID here, I was able to sneak one last job in, but after that, it went absolutely quiet. And luckily, every time a job came in, it was just in between lockdowns, so we're able to do that. But yeah, we're starting to get a bit stir crazy and want to go out there and start investigating too, and
I got a
so
lot of phone calls from people here that many of them were believers. Many of them weren't, but they were like, I didn't realize. I don't know how long this ghost has been here, but maybe he was always here, or it was always here, or she was always here. But I only notice it now because I've been in a lockdown and I've been stuck at home here for months. I'm here all the time, and I see and hear them now. I
Yeah,
got a lot of that. Have you gotten a lot of that there in where you're at?
not so much, but I have noticed there's been a big increase in paranormal videos coming out on YouTube and on TikTok and things like that. There's a lot more of them now than what there was, say, 2 years ago. So, I mean, I'm subscribed to quite a few different channels on YouTube, and it's just amazing how many more videos there are now. It's taking up quite a lot of my time watching them all, to be honest, trying to keep up. So, but in my area, no, it's been fairly quiet. Um, I know someone in Adelaide that said that they've been having like 3 or 4 a week at times. But yeah, I'd say that people are noticing it more at their houses now because of the lockdown or because of the various lockdowns that we've had. So, but not so much in my area, but more in the city. Because here in regional Victoria, we've had a little bit more freedom than Melbourne. They had what was colloquially known as the Ring of Steel around Melbourne, where you couldn't even get into Melbourne from the country unless you had bona fide reasons to go in. I was lucky I was able to because of my kids. I was able to go and see them. I had federal court papers, which the police couldn't argue with. And yeah, a lot of people were having troubles in Melbourne, but not so much
Wow.
out in the country.
I can't wait until you guys uh, are able to start going out and doing cases again, because that was one of my favorite things talking to you. We would talk all the time about cases you worked and things
Oh
that you
yeah,
come up against, and I'd pick your brain a little bit, you'd pick mine. You've done some great work in that field. You've worked some interesting cases. Some of the It's just so weird. It's like I talk to people from Ireland, Scotland, England, Australia, and I don't know if you guys feel that way, but I really honestly feel that there is a different vibe about the haunts. I think the haunts are unique. The way the haunts are, I think they're very uniquely that way in that particular country. And I could just be crazy and imagining it, but I honestly really feel that each country has its own style of haunts, which I find very, very cool. And another cool thing is this job. Well, I call this a job. It's my Friday podcast. It's what's been cool about this is I haven't even solicited it, but every time I have a show, fans and followers of the guest send in questions. So I have questions here for you from your fans and followers. They want to know all things about Mick Win. And if I ask you anything that you don't want to talk about, just say, Reb, I'd rather move on off that. But I want you to have fun because I'm going to want you to come back because an hour is not long enough with you. So here we go. Let me pick a good one here. Detectives. Somebody wants to know, how did you come up with the name Paranormal Detectives? Because that's very cool. I don't know one team out here. There has to be, and I'm embarrassed that I don't know. I don't know one team out here with detectives in it. Investigators, hunters, busters, but no detectives. I really think that's very cool too, along with this fan of yours. How did you come up with, well, you live in Latrobe Valley, but Latrobe Valley Paranormal Detectives?
kind of. It's actually. I actually blame where you live because of LVPD. I sort of thought, oh, something came up. I don't know what it was, but it just clicked in my head. I saw LVPD and it was to do with Las Vegas Police Department. I thought, well, I can't say police department for myself, obviously, but paranormal. And I thought, detectives. I thought because we do a lot of research. I mean, yeah, it's the same. It's pretty much the same as being an investigator, but we do a lot of research into places. We try and we try and detect what's a, whether there's a spirit there, what the spirit wants, what caused the spirit to be stuck there in the first place, and as it comes out, we actually have an ex police officer on our team now, so that sort of has helped back us up a little bit. But yeah, I thought, well, I'm in the Latrobe Valley, so I got the LV part already, and then I got P paranormal. And I thought, well, D, yeah, detectives. And you're right, I haven't actually heard of anyone else call themselves a paranormal detective.
I
It's
haven't
always
either.
investigator or hunter, or like you said.
You know
So
what's fun? What's funny? You bring up the word detective, and a lot of people. I've been hearing the term scientific method thrown around a lot now, and I've printed out that, and it's funny how without really being very familiar with it, everything on that list I was already doing when I go to paranormal investigation anyhow. So I thought that was very interesting. And then I looked at what detective means in the dictionary, and it's almost like it hits right to the heart of what we're passionate about. It's like what detectives do and what they're passionate about, but it's kind of like step up the game when it comes to being a paranormal investigator, and it just fits. So it's a great name. Don't change it. Um, how was the rest of the teammates holding up? I mean, they must be going crazy like you. You guys haven't been able to get together.
well, yeah, there has been that. It's I mean, we do keep in touch by phone, via video chat. Um, but yeah, it's been frustrating, shall we put it that
Well, let me tell you something else that's frustrating and scary. Not only is this past year a year that everybody in the world wishes we could just have a big do over.
yeah,
Now,
restart.
you and I, people in our field, we know how, like when you're being, even if it's just a regular old Uncle Tom, Aunt Betty haunting the old homestead because they still had they loved life. They weren't ready to go. They still want to watch over their home and their relatives and all of that good stuff. And they don't mean to scare the family, but you know, just the fact of them seeing their loved one in spirit can be a little alarming to people that aren't used to it. So imagine being in a lockdown and you're having these paranormal issues now. You didn't know your home was haunted. Now it's in your face and you can't do a darn thing about it. You can't flee. You can't reach out to any paranormal detectives to come and help. When people reach out to you wanting help and they already know you can't come to them because you're in the middle of a lockdown, what did you do? What kinds of things did you say to them?
Well, we've been lucky that we've been able to actually go to the places in between lockdowns. There hasn't been we haven't had to do a lot of stuff over the phone. We've been actually able to go there and do it, but do the investigation and you know get rid of them, except for one, which they actually. And this is something I'll discuss with you a little later. A question for you actually, but it's from something I've noticed. But basically, been trying to calm them calm them down because a lot of people do get very panicky about paranormal. Um, I blame TV for that. There's a lot of stuff that's been dramatised, over dramatised. I'm sure you'll agree with me on that. Um, but we just try and give them counselling over the phone, try and help them over the phone, guide them through what they need to do to get rid of whatever entities they've got at their house or their residence. And if it comes to the point that we need to step in physically, then we will. Then we jump in. But like I said, we've been lucky that we've been able to actually go there in between the lockdowns that we've had. The timing seems to have always just been perfect, more pretty much. That it's each job we've had has landed in between lockdowns. So we have
You're
had
lucky,
that.
man. You're lucky, man. I've been frustrated in the terms that a lot of people reaching out to me. One of the questions on my intake form is, have you or anybody in your immediate family ever been clinically diagnosed with a mental illness? And I
Mm.
usually mention a few of them, or still under the care of a doctor and on medications, and I'll list some medications. Most people really don't like that, are very uncomfortable with that question, but I have to ask it. And the frustrating thing is, I would say about 50% of the people that I talk to, usually it's a yes on that question. Now, there was a time where, especially if it's an alleged demonic case, um, sometimes I could debunk it and realize that there wasn't a malevolent presence there at all. But now I'm noticing that a lot of these, just like I notice a lot of young children with autism and Down syndrome, seem to be targets in these households for these malevolent spirits. Um, I've
Yep,
noticed a
I've
lot of
noticed that
these
too.
noticed a lot of these people, just like people that, like I've gone into insane asylums to visit a patient, and I've had doctors there that believe in the spirit world say you ought to come here sometime at 3 o'clock in the morning and walk around. This place is haunted off the charts, and I believe many people in those insane asylums are truly demonically oppressed and, God forbid, in some cases possessed, even though they're clinically crazy. So these people that I talk to, a lot of them now, 50% of them easily, um, are under the care of a doctor, clinically diagnosed with an issue, on medications. But I do know that by the answers on my intake form and my one on one conversations with them, I know that they're haunted. I know they're experiencing a haunting on some level. And that's a tough one to deal with. If you had to run into anything like that with people in your neck of the woods.
Yeah, I have. I agree. Um, we've had quite a few jobs come through with, funnily, well, strangely enough, well, no, I'm not going to say strangely, but yeah, a lot of autistic people have been targeted. We've noticed that people with Asperger's or just even on the spectrum have been targeted. I mean, even my own son, my youngest son, he's on the spectrum and he's got ADHD, ODD, PTSD. He's got as many letters as probably the best surgeon in the country would have after his name, you know. But yeah, even he's felt it. We'd have a job in the next town over. Twice in the last year, we've had to go over there because they've been haunted twice by separate entities. So another autistic one in Narracon, which is a very small town, almost a village south of the town I'm in, Maui. They had trouble there, and they had someone on the spectrum there. So I've noticed, yeah, mainly now people with autism or Asperger's that have been targeted more so than your normal sane people, if I dare say that out loud.
Yeah. This is crazy. Uh, so another thing that's very frustrating about this, I can't go to the doctor. I can't go to the family physician and say, with your blessing, is it okay for me to go? This is what I think's happening, because, and I've tried that before, and I already know the doctors. They're scientists, for lack of a better
Mm,
term, and I can dig that. I don't judge, and they're most important to mankind. Doctors,
mm,
they're not going to say yes. They're not going to agree with me and give me the green light to jump in there and do what I do. So what I've had to do is I've had to have the family fill out like a release form to allow me to treat uh, the person in their family that's suffering from that mental illness, but that we all truly agree on is probably, God forbid, possessed. I'll tell you, uh, off the top of my head, I'm thinking of somebody, um, autism, nonverbal, uh, or possibly even Down syndrome, nonverbal, not very lucid, in and out of being lucid. And there's nothing more frightening that when you finally get the demonic spirit to manifest through the person, how all of a sudden lucid they become. And that can be
Yeah,
quite shocking. Um,
that would be actually. That
yeah,
would be very
so it's just,
complimentary.
yeah, it's pretty it's I should write another book about it. I don't really like. A lot of people ask me all the time, "Did you waste the last year, Rev? You should have wrote another book." I don't really like to put that stuff down on paper. I'm the kind of person that is careful about the type of pictures I put out, the type of EVPs allow that I don't destroy, because all of that carries such bad mojo with it. Things I put down on paper, names of demons that some people just so nonchalantly throw the names out there in the cosmos. Um, there's bad mojo attached to all that stuff, so you got to be very very careful. I know you've handled all that stuff. Um, with your permission, do we have time? Yes, we have some time. With your permission, I would like to discuss that case that you weren't able to get that spirit or that entity or whatever you were dealing with to move on. Because I happen to know, in addition to just a lot of people that are passionate about the paranormal, I get a fair amount of people watching the show that do what we do. So they would be interested too. Are you up to discussing that case?
Well, actually, it's not so much we weren't able to get rid of it. It was actually more the people that were being haunted didn't want us to get rid of it.
Really?
That's and
I
that was
ran
what
into that too. how
that's what I
how
was going to ask. That's what I was going to ask you. Have you noticed anything that since COVID that people are actually seeking more comfort from the spirits rather than wanting to get rid of them?
it's I probably have told this story on this show before, and I don't want to talk too long because this is your show. You're my guest. Everybody hears me every week talk. But I had this one gentleman reach out to me who claimed he has had the spirit of a previous wife from a previous life attached to him since he was a child. And it's been with him all his life. And he all of a sudden one day woke up and decided, I want to be a ghost hunter. The shows, put the hook in him, and he decided that looks like it's cool. I'm going to buy a camera, a tape recorder, some other stuff, and I'm going to start going to these haunted locations and investigating. No training, wasn't a member of a team. So he went to this one place, and I'm very familiar with the place, and it is, the spirit infestation there is off the charts. It's out in the middle of nowhere. He went there, came back, said that his wife, there's a lot of the ghosts of a lot of nasty old miners there, along with some other, I would say, malevolent in nature type entities. Anyway, he claims that his ex-wife, the spirit of his ex-wife from a previous life, was a flirt. Started flirting with this one man spirit, and this one male spirit attached to her and followed them back home. Now the spirit of this miner or whatever
Mm-hmm.
is getting violent with him because now he's wants to just be alone with the spirit of his ex-wife. So now this male spirit is attacking him, and he wanted me to come over and get rid of just the male spirit, but not his wife, the ghost of his wife. So I, I'm who am I to judge? I've seen enough in my oh my gosh, I'm 61 now. I've been seeing spirits since I was little, ghost busting since my 10. So you know I know better than to just discount something. So I believe the guy, but I couldn't go over there because I'm like, if I come over there, the situation has gotten out of hand, and I need to. You need to cut, spiritual ties with everything that's there,
Yeah,
including the ex-wife. And so he ultimately chose to take a beating and deal with it on his own terms the best as he could, and not have me come over because he didn't want to say goodbye to the spirit of his dead wife from a previous
yeah,
life. And talk to people who are in love. They must. I know that there's some. They probably are not being honest with me, and there's some emotional issues, some mental they could probably be clinically diagnosed because they are in love with the spirit that's haunting them, and they just want me to come over and set some ground rules for the spirit. Don't do this, don't do that. You're welcome to do this, you're welcome to do that. um, and it just can't be done, but they're in love. Yes, men and women both. I've met them both that are in love with their ghost. What's your theory if you have one, and how would you handle that? I usually, unless they want to allow me to come over and completely change the situation, there's nothing I can do, and so usually I pass on those cases. But do you think these people are being influenced by the spirit, or do you think they
Well,
have some mental illness? What do you think?
well, they've definitely got some attachment issues. They obviously can't get over their ex partner. Um, but the problem with that is keeping the spirit there. It's not letting the actual living person move on with their lives. So I think it's a bit of a catch-22. I mean, you know, you want to go over there and help them out, and but you want to get rid of everything, and they want to pick and choose, you know, which spirit stays and which spirit goes.
Yeah.
You can't really do that. You know, it's either all or nothing, really. I'd I'd say, yeah, that there's possibly mental illness involved with that, and that's why the spirit is probably playing on that to make
And
it
that's
so that
that's the
there's
only time I find where I feel the client's not being honest with me. And I believe that it's from the influence of the invading spirit, and it doesn't have to be demonic
mm,
to have that type of influence. If the attachment is that strong, it doesn't have to be demonic, and
no,
it can really change a person's uh, view on life and how things should be going. I mean, you would think that someone in their right state of mind knows you can't be, either you are crazy if you think you are having a love affair with a ghost, or you really are, and that's not good either.
no,
So tell me about this case of yours that the people didn't want the ghost to go. I always find those cases to just leave me scratching my head. You reached out to me for help, but you don't really want the help. What do you want from me?
yeah. Well, one of them was actually the uncle of the um, the male partner. There were a couple with kids, and when they found it was the uncle, they said no, leave it. The other one was actually an ex team member we still talk to occasionally. Her husband's ex wife was haunting their house, and he didn't want to get rid of it. And she's sort of a bit, you know. I think it might have created a little bit of friction in the relationship. They weren't married, but they've been together for like I think 10 years or something like that, for a long time anyway. And she kind of wore the pants in that relationship, so to speak. But that was the one thing he put his foot down about was no, you're not getting rid of the spirit of my ex-wife. So, which made me feel rather uncomfortable for her. So it was sort of like, that's kind of a bit, yeah, that's, yeah,
was
I
was
wouldn't feel
the
very
was
comfortable.
the spirit of the ex-wife lashing out at the new love?
Um, Not particularly, no. It wasn't really causing any great disturbance or anything like that, but she was just letting them know that she was there. So she just knocked things off a desk or something like that, but wasn't actually physically attacking or causing any major mischief. Just occasionally, you know, like I said, knock things off a desk or, you know, turn a light off or turn a light on or turn the TV on or that sort of thing.
I personally have a question for you. I remember about a year ago. Explain to me what a milk bar is.
Ah, a milk bar. That's it's like a corner store. It's like a little store where you can get pretty much everything at a like you can get your newspaper, you can get ice cream, drinks, bread, milk, basic groceries. Some of them do hot food as well.
How about is when the word bar is there? Is there like a place for the guy to go in and get a cold one? And
No,
no, there's no liquor there.
no. And funnily enough, the
What
term
do
milk
what
bar
do
is
they
right
call
around
what do they call
Australia.
the bars there? Do they call the bars bars, or do they call
Yeah,
them? They do call the
yeah,
bars bar, but then you have a milk bar.
yeah. It's
A
either a
year
bar or
ago, a year ago, somebody, I can't remember who it was. Somebody reached out to me from Australia. They were either a paranormal investigator or they watched one of my shows, and I had mentioned one day I'm going to come out there, and I probably also mentioned that I would love to buy a haunted location and either help everybody there move on or make, be like a nice spiritual go between the spirits and the people they come to visit, and have it be a place where investigators could come and really hone their talents and try to communicate with the afterlife. And somebody said that there was a milk bar in your town or near your town. It might have been uh, it might have been Victoria, and there was in a center road, center street milk bar that was for sale. It had been closed down. It was empty, but it was for sale. A lot of spirit seen in there, a lot of spirit activity. But he said if there's ever a time to buy something, you need to come out here and buy this before they either knock it down or completely gut it. And
yeah.
of course, uh, I couldn't make that happen. But none of that rings a bell to you. A haunted milk bar in your neck of the woods.
Something tells me that I have actually seen something about this on a website, Centre Road Milk Bar. As soon as you said that, bell started ringing. Um, but that's in Melbourne, because the term milk bar is pretty much unique to only Victoria, because they call them, in other states, I call them like a deli for some reason. I don't know why, because they don't always have fresh sandwich meats or anything like that available there. It sort of throws me out when I went into state for some things and saw that. I thought, deli, that's a milk bar. But yeah, the Centre Road Milk Bar, I'm trying to think whereabouts. I know it's in Melbourne somewhere, but yeah, that wouldn't surprise me. I mean, yeah, I did see something about it's. Oh,
Well, let me ask you
the
this.
name of the website escapes me, but for the moment. But yeah, I have heard of that.
You and I have many times discussed different techniques of cleansing and blessing homes and property. Your
Yeah,
area is Mo is the history there, and quite the haunted history in your neck of the woods. And now you have everything there. I have people calling me from Australia with UFO encounters, contactees, abductees, UFO sightings off the charts, hauntings, all types, violent hauntings,
yeah,
haunted location, lots of haunted cemeteries. So you and I have in our day, in our time, we've done a lot of our fair share of house cleansings and blessings.
yeah,
And recently I ran into this rash of people who they don't like incense, so I can't take the blessed incense. They don't like smudge, so I can't take the sweet grass or the
yeah,
white sage. They might be allergic to them. I even had one person say, "I'm not so allergic to them. The wife doesn't like the smell of it. She would deal with it, but we have super super sensitive smoke alarms, and if I blow out a candle and too much smoke comes from that candle, it sets the
yeah,
alarms off. So I can't have you come over and smudge." Many, many years ago, I had somebody come and feng shui my home. I thought it couldn't hurt, because I live in a haunted house. It couldn't hurt. Thought maybe it would make everybody happier. And, just, things would settle down. It did help a little bit. The ghosts are still here, but it did help settle things down a little bit. But this person that came to feng shui my home, she was very shamanistic. You could tell that she had like a lot of traditional shamanic practices behind her Far East training of how to feng shui a place.
Yeah.
So I asked her about the cleansing and blessing because I saw different things that she was doing. And she said that is a big part of feng shui. And they just don't talk about it a lot, but it's, you know, raising the vibration of the very dark, lower vibrational areas in the home. I said, give me an example. So she said, well, you have this one room here, and it was actually in my garage. That was one area of it. And I said, you know what? So, you must be a little bit of psychic too, because we don't even go into the garage because of that. So she said she went over there with bells, chimes, and did a lot of clapping. She said, what you got to do is let some natural sunlight in here, some fresh air, and you've got to, all of this stuff, noise is vibration. You've got to
Mm.
change that vibration. So by hanging wind chimes in there and swinging them around, and she had like these little Christmas bells between her fingers, and she was
Yeah.
shaking the bells around and just clapping low, clapping above her head, right in the corner. Totally changed the atmosphere of that garage around. So what techniques are you mostly using now for cleansing and blessing in your area when someone asks the LVPD team to come out?
Um, well, we still do a saging unless the people are asthmatic or, like you said, if they're allergic to it. Um, I use sometimes a singing bowl. I don't know if you've heard of one of those.
Absolutely. Yeah, I don't have one of
That
those.
Oh, they're awesome. If you get a good one that has an awesome resonance to it, it does help lift the vibration as well. Um, I also do house blessings, and I do what I call an anointing of the house, which basically putting a cross on every door and window from every one window from every room. You don't have to do it to every window, otherwise you'll be there for hours. Well, some places anyway,
Yeah,
depending on their size. But and just saying basically in the name of Jesus Christ, um, let only positive energy enter this house. And I'll do that with olive oil on basically everywhere where there's an entry into a room, whether it be from a hallway or out or externally, like a window or a sliding door or hallway door, whatever. So, because I've one thing with COVID, it's given me the chance to actually study a little bit more about how to make a house clearing or house cleansing more efficient. And you know, you can never have too much in your arsenal when it comes to getting rid of entities and things like that. I've found anyway in my personal experience. So I do that. I've been using. I've got a copy of the Roman rituals, and I find that there's quite a few things that resonate with me in that I tend to use for blessing homes and even people.
absolutely. Yeah.
Sometimes the people themselves need to be blessed to get rid of any attachments as well. I do have a medium on my team that also helps with that, helping clear people and getting their vibrations back online, getting their chakras back online. So
I like your team's approach. You're very, and I mean this as a compliment, very old school. You go with all of the old, tried and true methods that over years and years and years have been proven to bring closure to cases more than not. And it's just uh, a very simple yet old school approach to what you do. Not very many teams anymore um, investigate with a medium. I happen to have a lot of friends who are very gifted mediums, and if
Yeah,
they haven't perverted their gift, if they come from love and light, and that's what they're all about,
yeah.
um, I think they're as good as any other paranormal tool that you use. And what is your team's current favorite go-to piece of equipment?
Well, the K2 meter is usually the best, but I've been experimenting over the last couple of years now with air quality meters. And this actually comes from a case, I believe it is from the US, um, where a bloke was waking up every day with post-it notes on his computer. I don't know, you might have heard of this case because it did get quite popular. And there were notes about what he had to do, stuff like, oh, don't forget to see the landlord about this, and you know, just things like that. But he'd have all these post-it notes on his computer screen every morning, and he was wondering what the hell was going on. He thought at first someone was breaking into his house, into his apartment, and he put the question up. I can't remember whether it was on Reddit or somewhere, but he put it up on a forum, on a public forum, and someone asked him, "Have you ever used an air quality control device there to see whether you've got maybe a gas leak?" And in the end, what he was suffering was from gas poisoning.
Oh no.
And what it was doing was making him get up in the middle of the night and sleepwalk and write all these post-it notes out and put them on his computer screen. So
Oh man.
I found that to be actually quite helpful. And funnily enough, I have noticed if I put it next to the K2 meter, I have noticed that there have been um, some of the values going up when the K2 meter starts going off. Like one of the jobs we did just before COVID was actually a car, just a little SUV, and that was at the start when I was starting to think about using the air quality control meter, and yeah, I couldn't believe it. It went, what was it? The amount of formaldehyde in the air went up, the CO2 went up, and yet we had all the windows closed and it was at night. And the car was parked outside. It wasn't parked in a garage or carport even. It was just right out in the driveway. And so I started actually going into using that too to see, because that can cause hallucinations
Oh
if
yeah.
there's wrong. And that's another way of ticking a box or cancelling out something, I should say. So right, they're not hallucinating. That's not the cause of what's going on here. So
That's another great thing I love about your team is that's your first approach because you know people who are having issues, if you can debunk it and show that
yeah,
it really wasn't anything but something natural or something going on in the home that's causing these things to happen, that's a big relief too. I mean, of course, if you are able to prove that the paranormal activity is actually paranormal and they're not going crazy and then you help them with that, that's fine. But they seem to almost be even more relieved if you can debunk it and it was something natural that wasn't paranormal or attached to spirit. So that's very very cool. um I'm trying to work on a new piece of, I seem to be having, I know this is going to sound crazy to people, I have a set of baby monitors that I took from a home once because the mother was hearing something speak to her child on the baby monitor every night. We cleansed the home and stuff, but she said, you know what? I just want the baby monitors to go. I've taken them on investigations where I will find the alleged most active area in the home, leave one of the monitors there, go in another area, and then get some communication like a walkie-talkie system. I would
yeah,
love to develop, if there's any engineers out there that want to get with me, I would like to develop some type of piece of equipment. I think done right, it might even be better than the ITC stuff that you see out there now, if it's done right, because there's something about the frequency these baby monitors on and the way the spirits want to talk through them on one end. I'm trying to iron all that out, and maybe someone's going to steal. Now that I've said it, someone might even steal the idea, but I'm working on it, and I'll let you know. But oh my gosh, brother, time is up. We're about to get cut off here.
Gee, that went fast.
I told you. I told you. So did you have fun when you come back?
Oh, I definitely would, and I definitely did have fun. I definitely would come back.
I love you. I
1 hour is
respect
not
you.
enough.
If I was there, I'd give you a big hug and a kiss. Give your mother a hug and a kiss for me. Give all the kids and everybody else close to you a big hug from the Rev. Have a wonderful remainder of your it's Saturday morning there for those that don't know in Australia. So have a wonderful remainder of your Saturday and your weekend. God bless you, brother. I will be in touch, okay?
Bless you, sir. Give your family, give your wife and kids a big hug from us down here in Hauntstralia. And definitely hope to speak to you again soon, and your producer.
All right, brother. You take care. I'll talk to you soon.
You too. Stay safe.
Good night, brother.
Cheers. Bye.
All right, brothers and sisters. Another trip down to the most haunted land down under Hauntstralia. I want to tell you all that I will be back next Friday, the 6th. Yep, August. Oh my gosh, August. August 6th. You're going to love this guy. He is the founder of Things. If you don't know what Things is, look it up. He is the co-owner of PUN TV, which my show is simulcast on. He is also the co-host of The 13th Dimension. And you all know him. You all love him. Mr. Jeremy York will be here next Friday, the 6th. I want to give a big shout out to my producer, Adrian Hart. Beautiful, passionate producer of mine, Desert Heart Paranormal, also a big wig with PUN TV, Ghost Tech, Ghost Granny. Thank you, Adrian, for all your hard work. Thank you to the Paranormal United Network for simulcasting my show. Guys, if you like my show, go to the Paranormal United Network Facebook Live page. Check out their lineup. A lot of shows there way better than mine. You'll thank me later. What else do I want to tell you guys? I think that's it, other than no matter what, when you feel like making fists, put them together and pray. Pray for peace. Peace, love, no violence. Stop the violence. Stop the anger. Come on, it's getting out of hands now. Did you guys hear about the poor woman 100 feet from her home in Atlanta, Georgia, walking her dog in a good area of Atlanta, Georgia, a good high-scale neighborhood, got stabbed to death, and they stabbed her dog to death too. Come on, guys. Alrighty, I hate it. Why did I want to leave the show on that depressing note? I've said prayers all night for that woman. I feel so bad just I don't even want to watch the news anymore. Anyway, guys, I love you all. I don't have a show without all of you, so thank you all for tuning in. Enjoy the rest of your weekend and the rest of your week. And on that note, good night, Jack. Good night, Dog. Good night, Harold. Rest in peace. Good night, Ernie. Good night, Bill. Good night, Dan. God bless you all. Peace.